Hi there, and welcome. Whether you're brand new to Jira software or looking to sharpen your skills, you're in the right place. This course is designed to give you a solid foundation in Jira so you can navigate it with confidence and start managing your work more effectively, whether you're part of a development team, managing projects, or supporting Agile teams in any role. In this course, we'll walk you through everything you need to know to feel comfortable using Jira software in an agile work environment. You'll start by understanding the different versions of Jira and what sets Jira software apart. From there, we'll introduce the agile principles that shape how teams work in Jira and break down the key agile terms and concepts that you'll see throughout the platform. You'll also learn essential Jira-specific terminology, the building blocks of projects, issues, boards, and workflows, so that you can speak the language of Jira with confidence. And finally, we'll take you on a guided tour of the Jira interface, showing you exactly where to find things, how to move around, and how to get work done efficiently. Whether you're tracking tasks, planning sprints, or collaborating across teams, this course will give you the tools to use Jira effectively and understand how it supports agile project management at every level. By the end of this course, you'll know how to navigate Jira, understand the core concepts, and feel confident contributing in an agile team environment. You don't need to be a developer to get value from Jira, just a willingness to learn. So let's get started and take the first step toward mastering Jira software. See you in the first lesson. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most widely used project management tools in the world, Jira by Atlassian. If you've ever felt confused about the different types of Jira available, you're not alone. Over time, Atlassian, which is the company that makes Jira, has changed and renamed their product offerings. As of the time of the making of this video, there are 3 main versions of Jira, each designed for a different kind of team. I'm going to explain the key differences between Jira Product Discovery, Jira Software, which is what most people are referring to when they mention Jira, and Jira Service Management. While they all live under the Atlassian Jira ecosystem, each tool is built for a very specific purpose, and knowing the difference can help your team pick the right one. Let's break them down quickly. First up is Jira Product Discovery, Atlassian's newest product designed specifically for product managers. It helps teams capture, organize, and prioritize product ideas in one place before they're turned into development tasks. Here's what it offers: idea tracking with custom fields like impact, effort, and customer feedback. Prioritization views to compare and rank ideas. Roadmaps and timelines to plan what's coming next. And collaboration tools to connect stakeholders from engineers to executives. So, Jira Product Discovery isn't for managing active products. It's for the upstream part of the product lifecycle, shaping what should be built before a Jira software ticket is even created. Next is Jira Software, the core version of Jira and the go-to tool for software development teams. Jira Software helps teams track, plan, and deliver work using agile frameworks like Scrum and Kanban. Key features include backlogs and boards to manage tasks and sprints, epics, stories, and bugs to organize work, dev tool integrations with GitHub, Bitbucket, and more, and reports like burn down charts and velocity metrics. If your team is actually building the product, like writing code, shipping features, Jira software is where the work gets done. So while Jira Product Discovery helps decide what to build, Jira software is how you build it. This course will focus on Jira software. Finally, there's Jira Service Management. Jira Service Management is for support teams, IT operations, and service desks. It helps manage incoming requests, whether they're from customers, employees, or other teams. You get request portals and customizable forms, ticket queues and SLAs, incident change and asset management, and automation to streamline repetitive tasks. Jira Service Management is focused on responding to people's needs, not building products, so it makes it ideal for IT, HR, and facilities teams. So to recap, Jira Product Discovery helps you decide what to build, Jira Software helps you build it, and Jira Service Management helps you support it. 3 tools, 3 different stages of the product and service journey, all in the Jira ecosystem. In the rest of this course, we'll be focused on Jira software. Hi everyone, and welcome. In this session, we're going to take a closer look at Jira software, one of the most powerful and widely used project management tools, especially for software development teams. Whether you're new to Jira or just looking to understand how it can help your team, this video will walk you through the core features, benefits, and how it fits into the Agile world. Let's dive in. So, what is Jira software? Jira software is a project management and issue tracking tool built by Atlassian that's specifically designed for teams working in Agile methodologies. It's commonly used by software development teams, but can be adapted for any team that follows an Agile workflow. At its core, Jira software helps teams plan, track, and manage their work in sprints, backlogs, and boards, keeping everything organized and transparent. One of the reasons Jira software is so popular is because it gives teams a centralized platform to manage tasks, issues, and progress, while integrating seamlessly with other tools in the Atlassian ecosystem, like Confluence for documentation and Bitbucket for code management. Now, let's go through the core features of Jira software and see what makes it such a powerful tool. Let's talk about backlogs and sprint planning. For Agile teams, one of the key features of Jira software is its backlog. This is where all your tasks, bugs, and user stories are captured. The backlog serves as a holding area for all work that needs to be done. From here, you can prioritize, reorder, and plan work for the next sprint. You can also create epics, which are large features or initiatives, and stories, which are smaller, manageable tasks, to break down the work into achievable chunks. Now let's talk about Agile boards, Scrum, and Kanban. Jira software offers 2 types of boards, Scrum and Kanban. These boards give you a visual representation of your team's workflow. Scrum boards are for teams that work in time-boxed sprints, typically 1 to 4 weeks. Teams work on a set of tasks, track progress in real time, and review the work completed at the end of each sprint. Kanban boards are for teams working in a continuous flow without the constraints of fixed sprint cycles. You track tasks as they move through the process from to do to in progress to done. Let's look at an issue. In Jira software, issues are the primary work items. An issue could be a bug, a user story, a task, or even a subtask, a smaller chunk of work within a larger task. You can customize issue types and workflows to fit your team's needs. This means you can design your own process for how work moves through the system, whether it's a simple to-do, in progress, done, workflow, or something more complex. Jira software also offers robust reporting features to help teams track progress and performance. Some of the most useful reports include burn down charts. Jira software offers robust reporting features to help teams track progress and performance. Some of the most useful reports include burn down charts to track how much work remains in a sprint, and velocity charts to measure how much work the team completes in each sprint, and cumulative flow diagram to see how tasks are progressing through the workflow. You can build custom dashboards to visualize key metrics, tasks, and team progress in real time, making it easy for everyone to stay on the same page. Now that you know what Jira software is and why it's so powerful, you might be wondering, how do I get started? If you don't yet have an Atlassian account, the first step is to go to Atlassian.com and click Get Started to create a free account. Once logged in, setting up Jira is simple. Click on Projects, click the plus sign to create a project, browse the templates, choose one that's right for you, and follow the prompts to create your first project. Once it's created, you'll add issues, plan and start your sprint if you're using Scrum, or begin tracking work in your Kanban board, and you'll collaborate. Use comments, notifications, and dashboards to keep everyone on the same page. So whether you're a small team or an enterprise, Jira software scales to meet your needs. It's flexible, powerful tool that works especially well for teams who follow Agile methodologies like Scrum and Kanban. It helps you plan, track, and report on work while giving your team the transparency and collaboration they need to succeed. So if you haven't yet started exploring Jira, go to Atlassian.com and get started. Create a project by choosing the template that's right for you. And when you're done, come on back to this video to learn more about how to use Jira and to learn more about Agile methodologies. Give it a try. Hi, everyone. Today, in this segment, we're going to cover the essentials of Agile methodology, a modern approach to project management and software development that's helped countless teams become more flexible, collaborative, and customer-focused. Jira was built to support Agile methodologies. So to understand Jira, it's really helpful to understand Agile. But whether you're new to Agile or just need a refresher, this short overview will give you the key concepts, values, and practices that form the foundation of Agile. Let's jump right in. So, what exactly is Agile? Agile is a mindset and a framework for managing work, especially in environments where requirements may change quickly, like software development. Agile isn't a specific tool or process. Instead, it's a set of guiding values and principles, first published in 2001 in the Agile Manifesto. Here's the core idea. Instead of planning everything up front and delivering all at once at the end, Agile teams work in small increments, delivering value early and often. They continuously gather feedback and improve as they go. Agile is about being adaptive, collaborative, and customer-driven. At the heart of Agile are 4 core values from the Agile Manifesto. First, individuals and interactions over process and tools. Agile emphasizes people working together because communication and teamwork are more important than rigid processes. Second, working software over comprehensive documentation. It's better to deliver something functional and improve it than to get stuck in endless planning and paperwork. Third, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Agile teams work closely with customers and stakeholders, adapting based on their feedback rather than sticking to fixed, predefined requirements. Fourth, responding to change over following a plan. Plans are important, but Agile welcomes change because the goal is to deliver what the customer really needs, even if it evolves. These values don't outright reject traditional project management concepts, like the importance of planning and documentation. They just emphasize other values more. Now, let's talk about how Agile works in practice. There are several popular Agile frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, and Lean, but they share common practices. First, iterative development. Work is done in short cycles, often called iterations or sprints. These usually last 1 to 4 weeks. At the end of each cycle, the team delivers a potentially shippable product increment. Another common Agile practice is daily stand-ups. Every day, Agile teams hold a short check-in meeting, often just 15 minutes or less. Team members share what they did yesterday, what they're working on today, and any blockers that they are facing. User stories are another common practice. Instead of technical tasks, Agile teams define work as user stories, short, simple descriptions of a feature from the user's perspective. And they have a pretty standard format. For example, as a user, I want to check my account balance so that I can do that whenever I want instead of waiting for a paper statement. A user story helps keep the focus on the user's needs. Continuous feedback and improvement is another key principle in Agile. At the end of each sprint, teams hold a retrospective to discuss what went well, what didn't, and how they can improve next time. This creates a culture of continuous learning. And finally, prioritized backlogs. Work is organized in a product backlog, which is a prioritized list of features, fixes, and tasks. The most valuable items are tackled first, ensuring that the team is always delivering high-impact work. So what makes Agile so effective? It helps teams deliver value faster. It reduces risk by allowing for early feedback and adjustments. It boosts transparency and team collaboration. And most importantly, it keeps the focus on the customer's needs, not just the project plan. Agile helps teams move fast and stay aligned, even when things change, which, let's face it, they often do. So, to wrap up, Agile isn't just a process. It's a mindset that values collaboration, flexibility, and customer satisfaction. By working in short cycles, communicating often, and embracing change, Agile teams can adapt quickly and deliver better results. Whether you're a developer, designer, marketer, or manager, understanding Agile can help you and your team work smarter, not harder. Thanks for watching, and remember, an Agile approach helps you stay flexible, stay focused, and keep improving. And Jira is built for Agile. Hi, everyone. If you're working with Jira software, especially on Agile teams, or if you've watched the first few chapters in this video, you've probably seen and heard a lot of Agile-specific terms like epics, sprints, and story points. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through some of the most important Agile terms in Jira so you can understand the language your team uses and get the most out of the tool. Let's start with the basic building blocks of Agile. Issues. An issue. This is any work item in Jira, a task, a bug, a user story, or even a feature, It's the umbrella term for all types of work you'll track. Atlassian, the maker of Jira, is moving to calling this feature a work item. So you might come across the term issue, and maybe you'll encounter the term work item. They refer to the same thing. A work item can be one of 4 types. It can be a task, a story, a bug, or an epic. A story, or user story, as it is also known as, is a short, simple description of a feature told from the user's perspective. For example, as a customer, I want to filter search results so I can find what I need faster. Stories are the most common type of issue in Scrum teams. Epic. An epic is a large body of work that can be broken down into multiple stories. It usually represents a big feature or goal that spans multiple sprints. An example might be launch initial product, or maybe integrate with artificial intelligence. Bug is another issue type. Pretty self-explanatory. A bug is a problem in the software that needs to be fixed. Task is the last issue type. A task is a standalone piece of work. It's also possible to create a subtask, which is a smaller unit of work that sits under another issue. Now, let's look at terms related to planning and tracking in Jira. Sprint. A sprint is a time-boxed work period, usually 1 to 4 weeks, where the team focuses on a set of stories and tasks. Jira lets you create sprints, move issues in and out, and track progress. The backlog is a prioritized list of work that hasn't been started yet. It's where you plan upcoming sprints and organize future work. Boards, Jira boards, Scrum boards, and Kanban boards visually track issues through columns like to do, in progress, and done. They help teams see the flow of work in real time. Story points. Story points, these are relative estimates of the effort required to complete a story. Instead of using hours or days, teams use points like 1, 3, 5, or 8 to represent complexity and size. The meaning of each number is different depending on each Agile team. So a 5 on one team might be slightly different than an 8 or a 3 on another team. It's all relative, as long as the team consistently uses the same criteria to decide what level of effort is represented by a 1, what level of effort is represented by a 5. Velocity is another term you might encounter. Velocity measures how many story points your team completes per sprint. It helps with sprint planning and forecasting, and helps to see the overall efficiency of the group over time. To sum it up, stories, epics, bugs, and tasks are how you define work. Sprints, backlogs, and boards are how you plan and track that work. And terms like story points and velocity help you measure and improve how your team delivers. Understanding these Agile terms in Jira will help you navigate the tool with confidence, communicate better with your team, and contribute more effectively to every sprint. Thanks for watching and happy sprinting. Hi there. If you're new to Jira, it can feel like you've stepped into a whole new language. Don't worry. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the essential Jira terms you need to know to get started and feel confident using the platform. Let's begin with the basics. Projects. A project in Jira is where your team's work lives. It contains all your tasks, issues, boards, and reports. Each team or product usually has its own project. issue. In Jira, everything is an issue. An issue can be a bug, a task, a story, or an epic. Think of it as the individual unit of work your team needs to complete. Another term for issue is work item. Epic is one of the 4 issue types. An epic is a large body of work that spans across multiple tasks and user stories. It usually represents a big goal or feature. A story is a second issue type, also known as a user story. It describes a specific requirement or piece of functionality from the user's point of view. For example, as a user, I want to save items to a wish list so that I can easily find them again. Bug. The third issue type is bug. A bug is an issue that tracks a problem or defect in the product that needs to be fixed. The final issue type is a task. It's a discrete piece of work that needs to get done. A task that is tracked as a smaller part of another issue is known as a subtask. These are useful to break down a story into smaller, more manageable parts. A board, which can be a Scrum board or a Kanban board, is the visual space where you track work, usually laid out in columns like to do, in progress, and done. Jira offers Scrum and Kanban boards. Backlog. The backlog is your team's to-do list, a prioritized queue of issues that haven't been started yet. It's where sprint planning usually begins. Sprint. A sprint is a time-boxed period, usually 1 to 4 weeks, where teams work to complete a defined set of issues. It's a core part of the Scrum process in Jira. Workflow. A workflow is the path an issue follows from creation to completion. This includes statuses like to do, in progress, and done. So, to recap, the essentials of Jira include issues like tasks, stories, and bugs, projects to organize your team's work, boards and backlogs to visualize and prioritize tasks, and workflows and sprints to keep progress moving forward. Understanding these core terms will help you navigate Jira more confidently, communicate better with your team, and get work done more efficiently. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, and welcome. In this session, we're going to help you get familiar with the Jira interface, the layout, key sections, and where to find the tools you need to work efficiently. If you're just getting started with Jira software, knowing where things are will save you time, reduce confusion, and get you collaborating with your team faster. Let's walk through the main parts of the interface together. When you log into Jira software, the first thing you'll notice is the navigation sidebar on the left. This is your main way of moving between different parts of Jira. Here are the key sections. Projects. Clicking projects shows a list of all the Jira projects you have access to. Each project has its own issues, boards, reports, and configurations. The For You section is your personal hub. It shows issues assigned to you, issues you've recently viewed, and your starred filters or dashboards. Speaking of dashboards, dashboards give you a high-level overview of your work. You can create custom dashboards that display things like issue stats, sprint progress, and workload charts. Filters help you view specific sets of issues. For example, my open work, or all work items, or viewed recently. There are all kinds of filters available to help you find what you're looking for. You can also expand and collapse the sidebar as needed to create space. Now let's take a look inside of a project. Once you're inside a project, the top menu will show project-specific tools. These usually include Board or Active Sprint. This is the visual board where you track issues and move them across statuses. Backlog. For Scrum projects, the backlog is where you plan future sprints. You can prioritize issues, create epics, and drag stories into the upcoming sprint. Reports. Jira offers built-in reports like burn down charts and velocity charts and cumulative flow diagrams to help you track your team's progress and performance. Timeline. This gives you a visual timeline of your epics and allows you to plan work over weeks or months. Clicking List brings you to a searchable list of all issues in the project. You can filter by lots of criteria, such as active sprints, assigned to me, and many, many more. Think of each project as a workspace with its own tools and views tailored to the team using it. Now let's talk about how to work with individual issues, whether it's a story or a bug or an epic or a task. When you click on an issue from the board or backlog, it opens in a detail view. Here's what you'll see: the summary and a description, if there is one. You'll see fields like assignee and story points and priority. Depending on your setup, you'll see a different set of fields. Depending on your setup, you may see the same or different fields. Status dropdown. You can change the issue's status here. For example, move it from in progress to done. You'll see comments and activities. You can also add comments. And you'll see attachments and links, if there are any. You can also edit, assign, or transition issues right from this view, keeping everything in one place. That's your quick tour of the Jira interface. We covered the navigation sidebar, project views, and how to find and manage issues. With a bit of practice, Jira becomes a powerful tool to track work, stay aligned, and deliver better results as a team. Thanks for watching, and happy Jira navigating. Congratulations! You've completed this Jira beginner course. By now, you should have a solid understanding of how Jira works, the Agile principles behind it, and how to confidently navigate and use the platform in your day-to-day work. Let's quickly recap what you've learned. You've explored the different Jira versions and how Jira software is designed specifically for Agile teams. You gained a clear understanding of Agile methodology, why it matters, how it works, and how Jira supports it. You learned key Agile terms like epics, stories, sprints, and story points, and how they're applied inside Jira. You picked up essential Jira terminology like issues, workflows, boards, and backlogs, so you can speak the language of Jira users and teams. And finally, you took a guided tour of the Jira interface, learning how to move around, find work, and manage issues effectively. With this knowledge, you're now equipped to not just use Jira, but to use it well as part of a high-performing Agile team. From here, the best way to keep learning is to start using Jira hands-on. Try creating issues, exploring boards, or participating in a sprint if your team uses Scrum. Don't be afraid to click around. Jira is flexible, and every click is a learning opportunity. Jira is a powerful tool, but it's most effective when paired with strong communication and collaboration. Keep learning, stay curious, and keep improving how your team works together. Enjoy using Jira. Welcome to this continuation of Jira for Beginners. Jira is widely used by Agile teams to track, manage, and report on their work. In this course, we'll dive deep into how to use Jira for project management, focusing on both team-managed and company-managed projects. You'll learn how to create projects, customize workflows, manage backlogs, use Scrum boards, and more. Why is this important? Jira helps teams stay aligned, transparent, and agile. Whether you're a developer, project manager, QA engineer, or business analyst, knowing how to navigate and configure Jira can dramatically increase your productivity and ensure smoother collaboration. The following chapters are each designed to give you a thorough understanding of a specific topic. This course is hands-on, and we encourage you to follow along in your own Jira instance. By the end, you'll have both the knowledge and confidence to use Jira effectively for any kind of project. Before you can even create a project in Jira, you'll be asked to choose between a team-managed and a company-managed project. But how do you know which one to pick? Let's start with a real-world scenario. Imagine you're part of a small startup. Your team needs to set up a project management tool quickly with minimal dependency on the IT department. You want the freedom to customize your workflow on the fly. In this case, a team-managed project is ideal. Now, let's contrast that with a larger organization where several departments use Jira. The company needs standardized workflows and controlled permissions. Here, a company-managed project is the better fit. Here is an example of a team-managed project. And here is an example of a company-managed project. They look very similar. They both contain issues and a backlog, and they support grouping issues into sprints. Where they differ is in the details of workflows, or the options for which statuses an issue can move into given its current status, and they differ in permission schemes, or who has access to change what. Team-managed projects are easy to set up and flexible. They're ideal for independent teams that want to manage their own boards, issue types, and workflows. You don't need to involve a Jira admin, making it perfect for small or fast-moving teams, or for a project that is going to follow an atypical workflow compared to how most projects in the company work. Company-managed projects, on the other hand, are configured by Jira administrators. They use global schemes for workflows, permissions, and fields. This makes them more suitable for large-scale operations where consistency and compliance are essential. Company-managed projects also offer more customization, at least by the Jira admin, for all the nitty-gritty Jira settings. Here's what to remember. Choose team-managed if your team needs agility and independence. You won't be able to customize everything, but you'll get plenty of features for a robust Jira experience. Choose company-managed if your organization values standardization and centralized control. The Jira configs will be shared across all projects within the company. Understanding this difference early helps prevent headaches later when your project grows or you need to integrate with other. So that's a summary of the difference between team-managed and company-managed projects. Now let's create a team-managed project step by step. But first, why does this matter? Setting up your project correctly from the start gives your team a strong foundation. It ensures that the structure, permissions, and workflow support how your team actually works. I'm already on the Projects screen, so I can begin by clicking Create Project. You can also click on the sidebar, expand it if you have to, scroll down to Projects, and click the plus sign. Jira will show you a list of project templates like software development, marketing, and human resources. These templates span across the Jira family of products: Jira, Jira Service Management, and Jira Product Discovery. This course is focused on Jira, also known as Jira Software. It's the most often used Jira product. I'm going to click on Jira, and now I see a list of templates that use this product. I see Kanban, Scrum, and a whole bunch of other templates that use Jira software. Scrum and Kanban are two of the most popular templates. If you're not sure which to use, remember, Kanban is focused on continual delivery of a product, and Scrum focuses on sprints, time-boxed periods of time where work is done and then completed. I'm going to go ahead and click Scrum. I can read more about this template, make sure that it's going to fit my needs, and it does. So I'll click Use Template. Next, you'll need to choose between creating a team-managed project or a company-managed project. You learned about those options in the previous chapter. In short, choose team-managed if your team needs agility and independence from an admin-imposed standard structure. Choose company-managed if your organization values standardization and centralized control. I'll choose team-managed. Next, give your project a descriptive name. For example, I'm planning a music festival in a remote destination. That's what I'm going to use this project to track. It's going to be hot. So I'll enter music you'll really enjoy. That's the name of my festival, the Meyer Festival. Note that Jira will automatically generate a product key, a project key. You can change this if you'd like. Note that this key will be used throughout the interface. It's used much more than the project name, so make sure that you're happy with the key. Next, choose the access level. Open, meaning that anyone can edit this project. Limited, I can choose who can edit the project. And private, choose who can comment on and edit this project. I'm using the free version of Jira, so I only have one option: open. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean that everyone on the internet can access my project. I still get to control who has access. I'll scroll down and across and click Next. Jira takes a few seconds to go ahead and create my project. From here, you can invite teammates, but I'll skip this for now. I'm now at my Scrum board and can start creating issues to plan my Meyer Festival. Key points to remember: choose the right template based on your team's workflow. Name your project clearly to avoid confusion and ensure that you're happy with the project key. Access levels affect visibility and who can do what. If you're on a paid version, be intentional and choose the one that's right for your project. Setting up a project is the first step toward organized teamwork. Go ahead and pause the video so that you can create a team-managed project. Once you've done that, come on back here to learn more. See you soon. Now that your project is set up, Let's take a tour. Why do this? Understanding the layout of your project helps you find what you need quickly and reduces frustration. To get to your project, expand the sidebar if you need to, scroll down to Projects, and expand that if you need to. Then click on your project. The main components you'll use are the board. This is where you visualize your tasks. Each card is an issue, and columns represent your workflow. In this example, to do, in progress, and done. The backlog is a prioritized list of work. You'll move issues from here into sprints. Reports, which I don't see listed here, but I can add it. I'll click on the plus sign to add to navigation, choose Reports, and add to navigation. From Reports, you can view sprint burndown charts, velocity reports, and lots of other metrics to help keep track of what's going on. You'll also access project settings. Where you can change information about your project. While I'm here, I'm going to choose a different icon. Expand the sidebar to see more project settings that you can access. There's lots to explore. I'm using this example project plan to plan my music festival. So the backlog might include issues like hire musicians, build temporary accommodations, and find a caterer. During sprint planning, you'll move some of those issues to the active sprint. As the sprint progresses, your team moves each issue from to do, to in progress, to done. This visual flow keeps everyone aligned. So remember, the board shows what's happening now. The backlog helps you plan what's next. And reports give you insight into how well your team is performing. Those are the main components of a Jira project. Now let's talk about creating issues, the core unit of work in Jira. Why are issues so important? They break down your team's goals into actionable tasks. Every story, bug, or task in your sprint is an issue. You might also hear this referred to as a work item. A work item and an issue refer to the same thing. There are two main ways to create an issue. From the global Create button, and also from the backlog. Let's walk through an example. This project is for planning a music festival, so I need to create work items or issues for all of the work that needs to be done to ensure a smooth, well-planned, and well-executed festival that everyone will enjoy. I will create work items for hire musicians and build accommodations and maybe figure out food. That's it. That's all you need to do to create an issue. Note that when you create an issue, you can select a type. The options that you see will depend on your project's configuration, but common issue types are task, bug, and story. If you've watched previous segments in this Jira Beginner series, you'll remember that a story is specific to the Agile methodology. It's like a task, but describes it from the user or customer's perspective. For example, figure out food as a task might look like finding someone to provide cheese sandwiches. But if I change this to a story, I can click on the little icon and change it to a story. The description might say something like, as a festival goer, I want to have access to lots of delicious food so that I can enjoy the music more. And click Save. You've just turned a piece of the project into a trackable task, in this case, a story. We'll look at creating issues more deeply in the Beginner 3 course, but for now, just know that issues can contain lots more information, like who is assigned to do the task, what the priority is, the story point estimate, which is an estimate of the level of effort involved to complete the work. And collaboration can happen within issues with lots of functionality for commenting, adding attachments, and links to resources needed to complete the work. There are also other, more advanced ways to create tasks. Forms can be created to make it easy for people outside the project to request work. Issues can also be created via email. But for the team working within Jira, remember that the two main ways are from the universal Create button and from within the backlog screen. If you haven't yet added any issues to your project, pause the video and add some. I'm sure you can think of a ton of work that needs to get done. I'll see you back here when you're ready to continue. Jira gives you the option to customize your team-managed project. Why customize? Well, every team is different. A development team might need code review steps. A marketing team might need approval statuses. But remember, Jira also gives you the option to select from lots of templates when creating a project. So it's worth exploring those templates because they've been used successfully by many, many teams. So you can avoid having to do lots of customization by choosing the best template for your project. Also, if you and your team are new to Jira and you find that out of the box, it doesn't 100% line up to the way that your team works, consider adapting your practices rather than diving into extensive customizations. The more you customize, the harder you'll find it is to debug issues that come up with your Jira instance, and the less you'll be able to rely on extensive documentation and support forms. But yes, you can absolutely customize your team-managed project. Among the most common things that you can customize are issue types, workflows, and fields. With issue types, you can add new types like client request or change request. And with workflows, you can add statuses and transitions that match your process. And fields, you can add custom fields like client name or operating system. Here's a real-world example. For my music festival, the Meyer Festival, I want to track customer complaints. Resolving the complaint might mean someone on my team having to create another task or a story to actually resolve whatever the issue is. But the customer complaint part, that's really its own thing. So to create a custom issue type, I can open the sidebar if needed, scroll down to my project, click the three dots to the right of the project name, and select Project Settings. From here, I'll scroll down to Work Types and expand that, and click Add Work Type. I'll enter a name. I'll call it customer complaint. Enter a description. Let's see, this will be used to track customer reported issues, though there probably won't be many. I can change the icon. That seems like a good one. Click select, and then create. My issue type has been created. So a number of fields have been added by default. I see a summary, a description, status, assignee, labels, due dates, lots of kinds of things that I would expect. I can remove any fields that I don't need. I can also drag and drop to add or remove fields. Maybe I'll add priority. I also want to capture the ticket tier of the festival goer, so I know if they are a silver, gold, or VIP ticket holder. So there's no field for this. It's going to be custom, so I need to create my own field. So I'll scroll down and click Create a Field. This one is going to be a drop-down because there'll be a few options to choose from. So I'll click that. The field name I will call Ticket Tier. And I'll add some options. Let's see, this one will be silver, and I'll have a gold option and VIP. I can even modify the color. And here's my new field. I can edit it. Looks like I didn't quite get my color right. There I go. And I can move the field wherever I'd like. Finally, I'll save changes. My issue type has been updated. Now, when I create an issue, in the work type, I should see customer complaint listed as an option. Let's see, maybe someone is going to say, my tent is leaking. And here's my new ticket tier field. This person is a gold ticket holder. I can create that ticket. Let me go back to my project. Look in the backlog, and here's my issue. With my color coding applied. You can add and remove fields from any of the other issue types by going back into project settings, clicking work types, and selecting the one that you want to modify. You can add or remove fields from any of these issue types. You can also modify the workflow. Let me do this for my customer complaint work type. So let me leave here. Let me go back to my project. I'll go to my project settings, work types, customer complaint, and I want to edit the workflow. For my customer complaint issue type, I don't want new issues to automatically be considered to do. They need to be reviewed by someone on my team first to review if additional work is warranted. So I will add a status for review. So I'll click Add Status for review. Doesn't look like it exists yet. So I'll create a new status. And the status category that it will fall under is To Do. And I'll click Add. It places it randomly on the workflow, but I'm going to put it here. So from start, the first status that it goes to is for review. I'll click Update Workflow. And note that this workflow will be applied to all issue types, unless I take action. So I really only want this to apply to my customer complaint. But if I remove all issue types except customer complaint, this is going to create an issue for my board. For example, let me go to my board. Because this new workflow has this step of for review, that doesn't quite line up with the columns that I already have on my board. So because it won't have the same workflow as everything else, it's going to get confusing. Jira works best when all issues in a project go through the same workflow. A better solution for what I'm trying to do to track customer complaints is to create a new project for customer reported issues. And I bet there's a template available with a workflow already created for that kind of customer initiated issue. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel and discard these changes. So remember, start simple and set yourself up for success by choosing the best template for your project. Try using the template as is for a bit before customizing. Know that you can customize issue types and even create your own as needed. And be careful about customizing workflows. Remember that Jira works best when all issues in a project go through the same workflow. If you've been using Jira for a bit and have identified some customizations that make sense for your team, pause the video and try making those changes. When you come back, we'll talk about company-managed projects. Let's talk about setting up a company-managed project. This is for organizations that need control, consistency, and collaboration across many teams. Why use a company-managed project? Because it allows you to enforce best practices, share configurations, and manage permissions at scale. The process for creating a company-managed project is the same as for creating a team-managed one. The key difference in the result is that company-managed projects rely on schemes, which are shared configurations that include workflows, the processes for moving issues from one status to another, permission schemes, who can do what, notification schemes, who gets emails when issues change, and screen schemes, which fields are shown when creating, viewing, or editing issues. For example, a company might have a standard software development workflow used across all engineering teams. New projects can inherit this without having to set it up again. That's a good use for company-managed projects. The music festival example that I'm using and have used in the previous chapters needs a website to promote the event and sell tickets. So I will create a company-managed project for this. I'll click on the sidebar to expand it, scroll down to Projects, click the plus sign to create a project. I'll choose Software Development. I'm going to choose Scrum. That'll be a good fit for this project. I'll scroll down, click Use Template, and select Company Managed Project. I'll give it a name. This is going to be for my Meyer Festival website. For the key, well, that's okay, but the key for my Meyer project is MYRE, so I think I want this one to have MYRE and then the word web. And that'll kind of help me clue me in that these are related. I'll scroll down and click Next. Wait a few moments while Jira creates this project. Hey, it was successfully created. If I view all projects, I'll now see it listed. Remember, you can change lots of things about this project, but I'll leave all this for now and we'll explore this later. Note that company-managed projects use configs controlled by your Jira admin. They're ideal for scaling consistent processes across teams. From my projects screen, I see, a list of projects. I see the name, the key, and the type. Here's where I can easily identify if a project is company-managed or team-managed. I got to this page by expanding the sidebar, scrolling down to Projects, clicking the three dots, and then clicking Manage Projects. Once your company-managed project is created, it's time to get familiar with its structure. Let me click on the one that we just created in the previous chapter. You'll see a board, which is labeled Active Sprint because I used the Scrum template for this project. If I chose Kanban, this would say board. I see backlog. This is where I can add issues to the backlog and group issues into sprints. And I see reports, which includes burn down chart and velocity chart and cumulative flow diagram. And I can also access project settings. From the sidebar, scroll down to the project, and click Project Settings. Here is where admins can configure this project. While I'm here, let me go ahead and change the icon. There are lots of project settings that can be adjusted. Priorities, workflows, screens, fields, settings, and components. Also note that your access and visibility may be limited by permissions. If something looks different, check with your Jira admin. In short, navigation of company-managed projects is similar to team-managed projects. Many of the same elements exist, but the settings and structures are admin-controlled in a company-managed project. Let's now create a Scrum board. But first, why Scrum? Scrum is an agile framework designed for iterative development. A Scrum board in Jira helps visualize work within a sprint, track team velocity, and manage commitments. If you already have a project that has a tab for active sprints, that tab is a Scrum board. The Active Sprints Scrum board shows all of the issues in this sprint. But you can create other Scrum boards for this project. Imagine that you manage all bug fixes. So it would be helpful to have a Scrum board that only shows bugs. Let's go ahead and create that Scrum board. To do that, expand the sidebar if needed. Go down to Projects and click the plus sign next to your project. In the Create a Board window, click Scrum. Give the board a name. I will call mine just Bugs. And then choose what to include in this board. I'm going to choose issue type because I will use issue type to control what's included on this board. And then I will select the issue type of bug and click Create. My Just Bugs board has been created. Here, I'm looking at the backlog, and the backlog is only showing me bugs. And when I click on Active Sprints, this Scrum board is only showing bugs. So when I create a new Scrum board, it's also filtering the backlog. Both the sprints and the backlog are filtered based on the criteria that I used when I created my board. You can also create a Scrum board that includes multiple company-managed projects so that you can see in one place the work across multiple projects. Why can't you include team-managed projects? Well, think about it for a second. You'll recall that company-managed projects follow a template. All projects have the same workflows and configs, but team-managed projects can have unique configs. In other words, if one set of projects has statuses of to do, doing, and done, and other projects have statuses of for review, pending, assigned, scheduled, well, you can't really line up a view of the work across projects. But let's make a Scrum board for all team-managed projects. This feature is a little hidden, but you can find it by clicking in the search bar, scrolling down, and clicking Go to All Boards. From here, click Create Board, create a Scrum board. I'm going to create a board from an existing project, which actually means one or more existing projects, and click Next. I will name my board All Team Managed. Then I'll select my projects. Note that only team-managed projects are listed in this dropdown. Next, I'll choose a location. This new board that I'm making can live within another project, or it can live in my personal space. Since it's going to span multiple projects, it really doesn't make sense for it to live within either project specifically, so I'll pick personal. And then finally, create board. Yeah, I've seen this happen before, but if I click refresh, well, let me go to default view. Okay, here's my new Scrum board for all team managed. I can see issues in the current sprint. And if I look at the backlog, I can see this sprint and things that are in the backlog. But hey, looking at the keys, I notice these are all from the same projects. All from the same project, DPR. I think that's because my Meyer web project, the project to manage the website built to promote my music festival, doesn't have any issues yet. So let me take care of that just so we can see this board with multiple projects in action. So let me go to my other project. Go to the backlog. And let me add a few issues. What tasks need to get done for my music festival website? Well, let's see. We need to create some promo videos. We need to set up a shopping cart. Oh yeah, we're going to need to connect credit card processing for sure. Okay, and let's see. I'll move these up into. I'm sorry. I'm going to create a sprint. Now I can take these 3 items and drag them into my sprint. And I'll go ahead and start this sprint. Sure, 2-week duration. That sounds good. Start it. Now, when I come back to my all team managed Scrum board and look at my active sprint, I now see issues from my web project as well. And when I look at the backlog, I'll see the sprint for the web project listed. So we just created a new Scrum board that spans multiple projects. Here's what's to remember. Scrum boards support iterative, sprint-based workflows. You can create multiple Scrum boards for any project to serve the specific needs of your team. And you can create boards that include work items from multiple company-managed projects. Now, let's explore the Scrum board itself, your team's mission control. Why is the Scrum board so important? Because it reflects what your team committed to deliver in a sprint and helps track progress in real time. Here's what you'll see on your Scrum board. You'll see columns that match your project's workflow. For example, to do, in progress, and done. If you've enabled a group, you'll see optional rows that group issues by assignee, priority, or other criteria. These are called swim lanes. Here, I can see DPR10 is grouped with its subtasks. On your board, you will see issue cards. These are clickable items that show summaries, assignees, and priorities. If you change the status, this is DPR 15, the issue moves to the correct place in the workflow. Issues can also be dragged and dropped to change their status. The backlog is where you prioritize work and create sprints. We can create a new sprint here and add items to it. So here are the key takeaways. The Scrum board maps your sprint commitments. Use it daily for stand-ups and progress reviews. Keep your board clean and up to date to reflect what's actually happening day to day. If you haven't explored Jira Scrum boards yet, pause the video and take some time to do that. Go into your backlog and add some sample issues, create a sprint, and add work items to that sprint. When you're done, come on back. Now that your Scrum board is live, it's time to make it your own. Why customize? Because every team has different needs for tracking, filtering, and viewing work. Here are the key areas you can tailor. You can filter by type. This means issue type. For example, view just the user stories, or just the bugs. Some quick filters are available. Choose Assign to Me to see just the issues that are, well, assigned to you. Oh, while we're here, if you want to see more, enter full screen to get rid of some of the extra navigational items so that you can see more of your board. The group setting allows you to create swim lanes or horizontal groupings. Here are all the issues assigned to Farmer Brown, and these are all the ones that are unassigned. You can also group by stories so that I can see a main task and the related subtasks. Grouping by projects only makes sense if the board is designed to show issues from more than one project. Click View Settings to see more options. For example, you can open work items in the sidebar, or turn that off for it to open up in a new window. You can choose which fields display. For example, I can turn off priority, and then that will disappear from my board. The information is still there in the card. I'm just hiding it from this view. You can also add columns. It's easy to do. Click the plus and add a column. For example, maybe quality assurance testing. That's a good spot for it. Before items are done, well, they need to get tested. Note that if I leave this column here, it's going to cause an issue if I have another Scrum board displaying items from multiple projects. For example, here's my board that shows multiple projects. It has it has columns for to do, in progress, and done. On my demo Scrum board, I just created this column for QA testing. If I move issue 15 from in progress to testing, I see issue 15 here from in progress. And I refresh my all team managed board. Issue 15 is no longer in progress, but it's not done either. It's disappeared kind of into the ether. I mean, it didn't really disappear. It's still here. If I move it back to in progress and refresh my all team managed board, there it is again. So just be cautious. For company managed projects, it's really best to use standard workflows across projects. But if your project needs a special workflow, that's a good reason to make it a team. But if your team needs a special workflow, that's a good reason to make it a team managed project. So all this customization ensures that your board reflects how you actually work. Remember, align your board with your process, use filters to reduce noise and focus your view, and show the right info on cards for quicker decision making. I invite you to pause the video and take a few minutes to tweak the configurations on one or more of your boards, so you see the info that is most relevant for the way that you and your team work. When you're done, come on back and we'll dig even deeper into Scrum board customization. Let's go even deeper into Scrum board customization. These advanced features help improve team performance and predictability. You can access additional settings in the sidebar menu. Find your project, then your board, click on the three dots to the right, and select Board Settings. Change the name of the board, the administrator, and even move the board to another project. This Scrum board is about this project, so I'll leave it here. Board Filter controls which items show up in this board. I'll leave this as is as well. We'll cover Jira's query language in another course. It's pretty powerful. I'll go back to the sidebar to access more features. Working days. These settings affect reports and other features that deal with dates and elapsed time. You can set your time zone to your local region and time zone. Select what the standard working days are for your team, and configure specific holidays. Again, getting these settings right will help with the functionality that's related to reporting on time-based elements and elapsed time. Estimation. If you're new to Agile, you might be used to estimating how long a task will take by thinking about it in terms of hours or days. Jira supports this, but consider looking into story points, which is an Agile concept. Story points are often based on a Fibonacci sequence, so 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. Maybe that's where most teams stop. Story points don't correspond to a specific number of hours. Rather, they describe the relative level of effort anticipated to complete the task. There are some general guidelines you can find on the web about what kind of task might be a 1 versus an 8, but ultimately, an Agile team develops criteria that make sense for the project. Once a team spends some time working together, they can get a pretty good sense of how many story points they can complete in a sprint, which is really useful for sprint planning. In the Layout section, you can control columns. There are configurations related to columns and statuses and workflow types. Proceed with caution here. Changes here can have unintended consequences, and it can be hard to find answers to your questions online when you have lots of custom columns and statuses and workflows. Let's look at some other options. You can create a column constraint based on issue count. So, for example, I can limit my in-progress issue count to, say, 5 items. So no more than 5 items can be in progress at any given time. That's usually applicable to a Kanban board. That's kind of fundamental to the Kanban approach. I'm using a Scrum board here, so I'll back this out. Swim lanes. You can change some default settings for how the swim lanes are grouped on your board. Card colors. I find this useful. So I can assign card colors based on priorities. So cards with the highest priority will be red and the lowest this light gray. Now that I've turned on that setting, let me refresh my board. And there it is. I can see the color coding. I will also see that color coding when I look at the backlog. The card layouts section has configuration options for controlling which fields you see on certain screens. So, for example, I can add fields to the backlog screen. Maybe it would be useful to see the name of the reporter. So I'll add that and click Save. If I refresh my backlog screen, now I see the name of the reporter, Farmer Brown. Wow, Farmer Brown reported a lot of issues. I can see that's not really useful in my case, so I'll go ahead and remove that. That looks better for me. So, in short, there are lots of customizations that you can make. Jira works great with all of the default configurations, and I recommend that you and your team spend some time using it with those default settings to get started. But once you're familiar with how Jira works, know that there are lots of ways that you can tweak your board to suit the way that you and your team works. Congratulations! You've completed this Jira training course. Let's review what we've learned. You now understand the difference between team-managed and company-managed projects. You can confidently create and navigate both types of projects. You know how to create and manage issues. You've built and personalized a Scrum board that reflects your team's Agile practices. Remember, Jira is a powerful tool that's built to support teams that use an Agile methodology. Using the default settings and templates will jumpstart your Jira adoption. And once you're ready to customize Jira to better support your project and your team, there are lots of ways that you can do that. Thank you for joining this course. Happy issue tracking and good luck with your Jira journey. Hi, and welcome to this Jira training course. I'm glad you're here. Whether you're a team leader, a project manager, or developer, Jira can help you manage your work more efficiently, but only if you understand how to use it properly. In this course, we're going to break Jira down into simple, digestible chapters If you've already watched the first 2 videos in this Jira for Beginners series, you've already learned about the basic building blocks of Jira, such as issues, backlogs, boards, and sprints, and how those features are used by teams that employ the Agile approach to projects. We'll continue that journey in this video, and by the end, you'll be confident in using Jira to manage your team's projects. But first, let's talk about why Jira matters. Think about any team project you've worked on. Maybe it was building a website, launching a marketing campaign, or developing a software application. Chances are, keeping track of who was doing what, when it was due, and what was left to do got complicated fast. Jira helps you organize that chaos. It's like a digital whiteboard and task tracker that scales up for large teams. With Jira, you can see what's happening, when it's due, who's responsible, and how the work is progressing all in one place. So whether you're dealing with 2 tasks or 200, Jira brings visibility, structure, and control. Here's how we'll break things down for this course. You'll start by creating your own Kanban board, a visual tool for managing tasks. We'll explore how to customize it to fit your workflow. You'll learn how to create issues. That's Jira speak for tasks or work items. Then we'll look at the different ways you can view, filter, and group those issues. You'll learn how to use dashboards, filters, reports, and even bulk actions to manage multiple issues at once. Finally, we'll wrap up with Jira's roadmap features, perfect for long-term planning. We'll use real-world examples along the way, like planning a product launch or managing a development sprint, so what you'll learn will be practical and easy to apply. I recommend following along in your own Jira environment. Pause the video after each demo and try it yourself. That hands-on practice will make everything stick. And remember, you don't have to memorize every button or menu. We'll focus on what's important and what you'll use most often. So let's review. Jira helps teams stay organized and in control of their projects. It's especially useful for Agile teams, but it's flexible enough for almost any kind of work. This course will teach you Jira step by step using real-world examples. Hands-on practice will help solidify what you learn. So now that you know what to expect and the why and the what, let's get into the how. In the next chapter, we'll create your first Kanban board, a powerful tool for tracking your team's work visually. Before we can organize any tasks, we need a place to see them. That's where Kanban boards come in. Imagine a whiteboard with sticky notes. Each note is a task, and columns like to do, in progress, and done show the status. That's what a Kanban board is, but digital, collaborative, and scalable. Kanban boards help you visualize your workflow so you can see what needs doing, what's in progress, and what's done, all at a glance. In Jira, a Kanban board is tied to a project and displays a collection of issues or tasks, also known as work items. You can customize the columns and filters later, but for now, let's just get started. We'll create a basic one together. First, click on Projects, then Create Project. There's a lot of project templates here to choose from, but scroll down to the Products area and click Jira. Then click Kanban. You can read about this template here. I'm going to click Use Template. If you've watched the previous Jira for Beginners videos, You'll remember that team-managed projects are great for when your team needs flexibility and independence in configuring your project. And company-managed projects are useful for settings where a Jira admin controls the configs, so that all projects across a company use consistent settings. I'll choose team-managed. Next, name your project. I'm going to use this Kanban project to organize the work around a marketing launch plan. So I will name my board Marketing Launch Plan. Make sure that you're happy with the key that automatically is generated. It's going to show up everywhere in the interface, so you can modify it if you'd like the key to be something else. Next, choose project permissions. I'm on the free version, so my only option is open. That doesn't mean anyone on the internet can access my project. I still need to invite people in. Next, I will click Next. Jira will take a few moments to create your project. Great. Jira project successfully created. Next, you can invite teammates. I'll skip this for now. So I'll click Skip. Great. Just like that, you've got a working board. Jira set up my board automatically with some default columns: To Do, In Progress, and Done. Since I'm using this board to lead a marketing team planning a product launch, I'm going to go ahead and create a few tasks along those lines. This project might have tasks like create social media calendar, design graphics, and write press release. Now you can visualize and move these work items through your workflow as work is being done. So to recap, Kanban boards give your team visual clarity and control over tasks. You create a board by creating a new project using the Kanban template. Start simple. You can customize it later. Next up, we'll explore what makes a Kanban board work and how it supports Agile practices. Pause the video and create a new project using the Kanban template so that you can follow along and try out the things you'll learn in the upcoming chapters. Having a board is good. Understanding how to use it effectively is even better. Kanban is an agile methodology that focuses on continuous delivery and workflow efficiency. It's not just about dragging cards, it's about improving flow. Your Kanban board has several elements. It has columns, which represent the stages in your workflow, such as to do, in progress, and done. It has cards, also known as issues or work items. Since creating this board in the previous chapter, I've created some more issues and assigned them to some of the team members. Click on a card to see more details about it. You can drag an issue to a new column when its status changes. Your board also has swim lanes. Use the Group drop-down menu to create swim lanes or horizontal groupings. For example, now my board is grouped horizontally by assignee. So all of Farmer Brown's issues are grouped together, and all of Gardner Greer's are also grouped together. I'll click None to remove my swim lanes. Depending on your project's configurations, you might also see a tab for Backlog. I don't see one here, but I can easily add it. First, I'll look in More, and I don't see it there, so I'll click the plus sign, select Backlog, and add to navigation. Now I have a link for Backlog. I'll click No Thanks on this alert. So a backlog is useful to have when you have many tasks that eventually need to get done, but most won't be worked on soon. This project is going to need dozens and dozens of tasks over the coming months. I could put, say, 72 tasks into the to-do column on my board, but that's going to be difficult to manage. That's way too much information to see on my board, especially since most of those to-dos aren't going to get done anytime soon. So instead, I can put items in my backlog. I'll go ahead and click Create to add a few items to my backlog. Perhaps schedule, product, announcement, blog post, and monitor launch KPIs. And finally, planned and host virtual launch event. Now I've captured these ideas about work that needs to happen, and they'll sit on my backlog until I'm ready to put them onto my board. As my team moves items to done, that'll clear up some space in to do. So I'll then go to my backlog and move some items up onto my board. This helps keep the team focused on what's important now, rather than overwhelming them with an exhaustive and exhausting to-do list. So, to recap, a Kanban board keeps my project and my team organized. I don't need to ask for daily status updates or send out emails to assign tasks. The board shows my team the tasks that they should be currently focused on. I can easily see what's in progress and what's been completed. And I can see when the team has capacity to tackle more to-dos. When that happens, I'll move the next highest priority items onto the board. Next up, let's customize your board so it reflects how your team actually works. Let's talk about customizing your Kanban board. Your team doesn't work like every other team, so your board shouldn't necessarily look like theirs. Customizing helps Jira match your processes, not force you into someone else's. In a team-managed project, there are several things that you can adjust on your Kanban board. You can adjust the columns. You can adjust the card layout. You can adjust issue types, swim lanes, and filters. Let's take a look at those. Let's edit the columns. On your board, click the plus sign to the right of your rightmost column. Enter a name. I'm going to create a column named For Review. I want tasks. Once the team member completing the task thinks it's done, I don't want them to call it done quite yet. I want them to move it into the For Review status. So I'll move this For Review column to between In Progress and Done. Someone else will be assigned to review the work, and that person has the authority to move it over to Done. You can also rename a column. Since I created a backlog, which will contain many to-dos, I'll rename to do something else. Perhaps ready for work. So these are not just ideas for tasks. They have all the details needed to be ready for work, and someone can pick them up and start working on them and move them to in progress. So each column is tied to a status in your project's workflow. You can also customize issue types. Some of the tasks in the marketing launch plan are about creating graphics, digital files of images. It could be useful to treat them as their own issue type because it might have some customized fields for graphic type and dimensions, and maybe issues of these types will be reviewed by the creative director as opposed to other tasks that will be reviewed by, maybe me. So to customize the issue types, I'm going to go to Project Settings. Here in the sidebar, I'll go to my project, click More Settings, and then Project Settings. I can scroll down to Work Types, and I'm going to add a work type. Here's a list of work types that Jira is suggesting that I can add. These are standard work types that are not yet available in my Kanban board, but I can easily add them here. But for my example, I'm going to create my own work type. So I will click Create Work Type. I'll enter a name. I'm going to call this Design Task. Again, this work type is going to be used to track tasks where the deliverable is a graphics file. So I'll click Create Now. From here, I can configure this work type some more. Maybe I'll change the icon. That seems better. And I can remove fields by dragging and dropping. Like perhaps I don't need team on this one, so I can remove this field. But I do want to have priority. So let me go ahead and add that field. Now I want this work type to have a field where the person creating the task can describe which file output the deliverable should be in. So I'm going to create a custom field. I'll create a field, and there will be multiple options that the file type could be. So I will use checkbox. My field name, I'll say file type. And then I'll configure my options. Perhaps PNG is one option, JPEG, and GIF. I'll click Save Changes. I'll click Back to Project. Now this design graphics work issue, I can now change the task type. So I'll click on this issue, mouse over the work type, which is currently task, and change it to design task. The issue type has been changed, and notice now a file type field appears. This field is on this issue type. For this card, I want output in all three of these file formats. I can further customize the issues that show up on my board in a few ways. I can click on a person's initials to restrict the issues that appear to just ones that are assigned to that person. I can modify by type So just view the design tasks or just view the other kinds of tasks. I can group the tasks into various swim lanes. Note subtasks didn't have any effect because I don't yet have any subtasks. We'll look at that later. Note the options that you see in the Group menu will depend on various factors, including whether you're using a team-managed versus a company-managed project. So to recap, on your Kanban board, you can customize the columns and work types to reflect how your team or your project needs to work. You can control what you see on the board by restricting issue by person and issue type. Use the group feature to create swim lanes for logical horizontal groupings across the board. Can you think of any board customizations that would be useful for your project? Take a few minutes to go to your board and make those changes. When you're done, come on back and we'll dig deeper on the issue of creating issues in Jira. Everything in Jira revolves around issues. Whether it's a bug, a task, a feature request, or a documentation update, each item of work your team does is created as an issue. You can't manage work if you haven't defined it, and issues are how work gets defined. So, what is an issue in Jira? An issue always contains at least 3 attributes: an issue type, a summary, or a title, and a status, such as to do, in progress, or done. Some additional commonly used fields are description, priority, and assignee. Those are fields you'll be using a lot if you continue to use Jira. You can create issues right from your board by mousing over a column, scrolling to the bottom of it, and clicking Create. Give your issue a summary, like localize content for international audiences. Select an issue type. I'll leave mine at task. And then create work item. You can also create issues from the universal Create button at the top of the screen. Click Create. Scroll up to make sure that you're creating the issue in the project that you intend to create it. Choose work type. In this instance, I'll choose bug. Oh, I haven't added that work type yet. Let me go ahead and do that. There it is. And this is a bug that is tracking the issue of a typo in an Instagram post. So for the summary, I will say fix typo in Instagram post and click Create. Note, my changes are saved, but your work item isn't visible. It's nowhere on this board yet, but I will see it in my backlog. There it is, right down there at the bottom. Now, I'm tired of finding the backlog in this menu, so I'm going to take backlog and move it over here so it's always there for me. Excellent. Now, when I'm ready for that new issue to go onto my board, I can simply drag it up to the board section. And now, there it is in my Ready for Work column on my board. Now, if you've enabled the backlog for your Kanban board, which is a useful thing to do if your project will have many tasks, you'll probably find it easiest to create issues from the backlog. Simply scroll down to the bottom and click Create. Enter a summary, maybe update brand assets. Choose the work type. In this case, it'll be a design task. And click Enter to create it. Create other tasks as needed. Maybe set up tracking links. And update style guide. And finally, coordinate with sales on launch timing. From this view, you can change priority and assignees. For example, coordinating with sales on launch timing might be something we want to do pretty soon. And I can assign that to someone right from here. Let's go back to the board and recap. Issues are the core unit of work in Jira. Issues always contain a work type, a summary, and a status. Other key fields include a description, priority, and assignee. You can create issues from multiple places within the Jira interface. If you're using a backlog, that's a great place to capture ideas for tasks, which you can add details to over time. Next, we'll dig into the issue view, where all the details live. Once you're comfortable creating issues, the next step is to get comfortable managing them. You've already seen how issues appear in the board and in the backlog. Another powerful tool for managing issues is the list view, also referred to as the issues view. This view of issues is like a spreadsheet. You'll see many columns across the top, such as issue type, summary, and status. If you scroll to the right, you'll see many more columns. And each row is an issue. Just like in the backlog and board, this screen offers several ways to filter the issues that are listed. You can search for a specific issue, or search by a term like sales, click on a name to see issues assigned to that person. These are all the issues assigned to Gardner Greer. Note this other name is highlighted with this circle because that's me. I'm logged in as me. Click Filter to see many powerful options. Perhaps I'll filter to just the highest priority items. Click Clear to remove the filter. Just like on the board, you can group. This creates swim lanes, so all of Farmer Brown's issues are grouped together, and all of Gardner Greer issues are grouped together, and all the ones that are unassigned are grouped together. In View Settings, I have a few options, such as Hide Done Items. Now they're removed from this view. Let me bring them back. If any columns aren't relevant to you, you can remove them. For example, maybe I don't need to see due date in this view. So I can click on More Column Actions and then Hide Field. And columns can be added. Just mouse over between two columns and click the plus sign that appears. Maybe I will add my custom field for file type. If any of the rows have a value, I'll see them populated here. I can also move columns. Maybe it's useful for me to see my priority column further to the left. From this view, you can also take actions in each column. For example, if I mouse over the issue type, I can create a child work item. So under my Design Graphics tasks, I will create a few subtasks. Perhaps I need to have a product logo designed and perhaps an Instagram ad. Now, I have subtasks associated with this parent task of design graphics. Click on Priority to change it. You can edit the summaries here as well and change the status. In short, lots of things are editable right from this screen. To open a card, click on the key. It opens a detailed view showing, well, all the details. Here you can access every attribute about this issue and edit as needed. So, to recap, the list view gives a complete picture of each task with lots of options for modifying the columns and rows that you see. From this view, you can easily make edits to the most often used issue fields. The search and filter options give you the tools you need to narrow down the list of issues that appear in the list. I invite you to pause the video and take some time exploring the list view in your own Jira project. Try out some of the pre-built filters and try making edits to issues without having to go into the issue details. When you're done, come back here and we'll take a deeper look into how to filter issues so you can find what you need quickly. As your project grows, you'll have dozens or even hundreds of issues. In the previous chapter, we looked at a few different ways to filter the issue list. But once you start using Jira for a bit, you'll probably run into a scenario where you can't quite find the filters that you want. Well, Jira has a solution for that. You can build your own filters. Let's take a look at how to do that. You can find the filter options in the sidebar menu. Scroll down or up to Filters and expand if needed. Click on All Work Items. This is a basic filter. You'll see Basic is highlighted. It's a spreadsheet-like view of all the issues in my Jira instance, spanning all projects. I can tell that because of the keys. You can also toggle to a detailed view up here at the top. Again, all my issues are listed here, and I can click on an issue to see details about it. I think, for me, the list view is a little bit easier to work with. Let's take a look at a couple of other basic filters. I'll go back to the sidebar and click on Open Work Items. These are all the issues where the resolution is unresolved. And it's sorted by priority. with the highest priority items listed first. My open work items is similar, where resolution is unresolved, and the assignee is the current user. Well, that's me. So I see a list of issues that are assigned to me that are not yet resolved. I like this My Open Work Items filter. It really helps me stay focused on the things I need to be worried about. But it would be even more useful if it was sorted by priority. So I'll mouse over priority and click the arrow until the highest priority items are listed first. There we go. To save this filter, click Save Filter. Give it a name. I will name mine My Open Work Items Prioritized. Give it a description. Say issues assigned to me. Unresolved. Listed highest priority to lowest. Next, choose who can view it. I'll leave it private for now. And who can edit. I'll leave that private for now as well. Then click Save. I'll go ahead and copy this link and look at it in a new window. Maybe I'll bookmark it in my browser. You can also note that it has been starred automatically, so I can easily find it in my sidebar under Filters, Starred Filters. Now, behind the scenes of these basic filters is code that is querying the Jira database and applying whichever filters have been selected. You can see that code by clicking jQuery. This code can be modified and saved to create a Jira query language filter. Note the sorting on this. This jQuery query is sorted by priority descending and then updated descending. So that means it's showing the highest priority items first, and then where the priority is the same, it's using the updated date to do additional sorting. So these are all medium, and it's sorting on the updated date. I'd rather have it sort by the created date, so that the ones that are created earlier get listed first. So let me click on created and do that sorting to sort the oldest first. Great. Uh-oh, what happened to my priority sorting? I lost it. Let's see what happened. If I look in the jQuery, I can see that the first sorting that happened is by created, then priority, then updated. Well, that's not what I want. So the easiest way to build this filter to do the sorting that I want is to manually edit this jQuery. So I will order by priority descending first, then the created date ascending, and well, I don't really even care about this sorting, so I can remove it. I'll click Enter to run the search. Now I'm sorting by priority first, and then where the priority is the same, by the date created. I like this filter now, so I'll click Save Filter, and then Save Changes. Great, that was saved successfully. So there is a lot more that you can do with JQuil, such as using OR conditions and wildcard searches and date ranges. The nitty-gritty of JQuil goes beyond the scope of this course, but if you want to explore on your own, click the question mark to access Atlassian documentation on JQuil. So let's recap. Filters let you quickly find relevant issues. Use the basic search or JQuil for more control. Save filters to help you be more productive. Pause the video and explore the filters that are available to you in the sidebar. Try modifying one within basic or JQuil mode and save the new filter. When you're done, come back and we'll see how these filters can power dashboards. If filters help you find work, dashboards help you understand it. Dashboards give you a visual overview of everything happening in your project, ideal for daily check-ins and team syncs. Dashboards can also span across projects, which is useful for leadership reporting and managing multiple projects. You can find dashboards in the sidebar. Scroll down to Dashboards, expand it if needed, and click View All Dashboards. I only have one dashboard here. It's the default dashboard. You should see this one as well. Dashboards are customizable pages that use gadgets to show different kinds of information. This dashboard has gadgets for Welcome to Jira, Assigned to Me, which is a list of issues assigned to me, and a list of projects. Other gadgets are available for things like filtered results, so that you can use any filter in a gadget, burn down charts, pie charts, tables, and more. Let's create a dashboard from scratch. To do that, I'll go to the sidebar, go down to Dashboards, and click Create Dashboard. Name your dashboard. I'm going to call mine My Work because it'll be a collection of gadgets that contain information about my work. Choose who can view it. I'll leave this private for now and click Save. Now you have a blank canvas to add gadgets to. Click Add a Gadget. Here, you can search for gadgets. I know that I'm looking for one named Filter Results. Here it is. I'll click Add. And then close the gadget window. So this gadget lets me choose any saved filter to display the results right here on my dashboard. I want to use the filter that I just created in the previous chapter. So I'll open up this list and scroll and look for it. There it is, My Work Items Prioritized. Now I can select the number of results to show. 10 seems fine. Which fields to display? I'm happy with this list, but maybe I'll move priority to the top. I can select other columns as needed. I can choose from all of the columns that are available in Jira, which is quite a few. And I can select whether to auto-refresh or not. That seems pretty useful, so I'll check the box to update every 15 minutes. Then click Save. Now, this gadget shows the results of my filter. It's a really useful tool to have on my dashboard. It gives me a list of all of my unresolved work items listed highest priority to lowest. This really helps me focus on what I need to be doing today. I'm going to go ahead and add another gadget. I will add the gadget for issue statistics. Here, I can choose a filter or a project. I'm going to continue to use the filter that I created, my open work items, prioritized. I'll choose a statistic to report on. I'm going to use project. I'll leave the rest as is. Oh, but I will update every 15 minutes and click Save. So this gadget gives me a report summarizing the number of issues that are assigned to me, unresolved, by project. Most of my work is in the Demo Project 2 project, and about a third are in the Marketing Launch Plan. Let me add one more gadget. I'm going to add a pie chart. Again, I'm going to use my same filter. And for the statistics type, I'm going to use resolution. Update every 15 minutes, and saved. So that resolution field describes whether an issue is resolved or unresolved. 100% of my unresolved issues are, well, unresolved. That makes sense. I'm going to make this a little bit more useful by creating a new filter that includes items that are resolved, those done items. So let me go ahead and create that filter. I'll go to the sidebar, filters. I can open the one that I'm going to base it off of because it's very similar to this one, but instead of resolution being unresolved, I'll remove that so that issues are included whether they are resolved or not resolved. I'll save this filter. This time I want to save as a copy because I want to keep my original and just make a copy of it. I will call it my open work items prioritized, but I'm going to change open to all. So it's my all work items prioritized. So this is issue items assigned to me, unresolved and resolved, listed in highest priority to lowest. Save. Now let me go back to my dashboard I was working on. Let me edit it. And in this pie chart, I will go to Configure and change the filter that I'm going to use. Now I will use the filter called my all work items prioritized. Let me close this to create a little more space, and then click Save. Now I see that more than half of my items are done and slightly less than half are unresolved. That's a little bit more useful. Another thing you can do on your dashboard is change the layout. One big column, 3 little columns. Maybe I'll use a big column on the big column on the left and a smaller column on the right. And then maybe I'll drag this over to here, and I'll take this big pie chart, put it into my small column over here. Which might be a little tricky to do. I'm sure I can get there. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Whew, there it is. All right, now I have a pretty useful dashboard. I have a list of my open work items, prioritized. These are things that I need to get done. I have some high-level information about where that work lives in which projects, and an overall view of how I'm doing on resolved issues versus unresolved. So this dashboard is all about me. If I were creating a dashboard for a specific project, I'd select that project name for each of the gadgets. And if I were creating a dashboard that reports across multiple projects, I'd use one of the pre-built filters if they met my needs. Or I would create a new filter that includes issues from the projects I want to report on. So to recap, dashboards turn data into insight. Use gadgets to track team health, personal workload, or project progress. Combine save filters with visual tools for powerful reporting. Take a few minutes now to pause the video and create a dashboard. Make it a project-based dashboard by choosing the same project for all of the gadgets, or make all of the gadgets based on a custom filter. When you're done, we'll explore how to share filters so others can benefit from what you've built. In the previous chapter, I created this dashboard about my work. It's really useful for me and could be useful for other team members, but right now they can't use it because this dashboard is built around a filter that only I can access. Sharing filters allows others to see exactly what you see, or things that are contextual to them based on the same criteria, whether you're checking for overdue tasks, bugs assigned to them, or issues in a sprint. This avoids duplication, improves visibility, and boosts collaboration. So you can share any saved filter with specific users, groups, or projects. Shared filters can then be used in dashboards, reports, and quick navigation. To share a filter, expand the sidebar, find the Filters section, and click View All Filters. Find your filter and click the three dots to the right. This is the filter that I want to share. I'll click Edit. In the Edit screen, view to the Viewers section and review what options you have. You can share it with anyone who has access to the project, a specific group of people, the whole organization, or specific users. I want anyone in the organization to be able to use this filter, so I'll select My Organization and then Add. Editors gives me the same options, but I'm going to leave this private so that no one else can edit it. I don't want anyone else messing up this filter. Then I'll click Save. In the list of filters, you can now see that this one I edited, the viewers are my organization. Let me go ahead and make the same change to my other filter while I'm here. Edit, My Organization, Add, and Save. Now, anyone can use these two filters. Even though it's called My Work, it will work for them. Remember, the filter uses criteria of assignee equals current user. So the current user changes depending on who is logged into Jira. Shared filters are really useful. Another example is that your quality assurance leader creates a filter for all unresolved bugs created this week and shares it with the team. It's now visible to devs, managers, and even on team dashboards. So to recap, share filters so your team can reuse them for consistency and visibility. Filters can be shared with individuals, groups, or project teams. Shared filters power dashboards, reports, and collaborative workflows. Next, we'll use these filters to generate useful reports. Data without context is noise. Jira reports help you analyze team performance, identify bottlenecks, and track progress over time. Whether you're a Scrum Master, product owner, or project manager, reports help you make informed decisions. In Kanban projects, Jira provides reports like cumulative flow diagram, which shows issue states over time, and cycle time report, which gives insights into the time it takes work items to move through your workflow. In Scrum projects, you'll also see those, plus burn up and burn down charts to track completed work and remaining work. You'll also see velocity report, which gives a view of the total number of story points completed each sprint. You'll access all of these from the Reports tab on your project. Note, if you don't see reports listed, like in this project, click More. If it's still not there, click the plus sign. Click on Reports, and then Add to Navigation. You can then move it anywhere you'd like in the navigation. Let's take a look at a couple reports. So, go to a project, click Reports. Choose a report type, for example, velocity report. The report generates. Click How to read this report to get more information about the report shown on this page. Note the Learn More link if you want a deeper understanding of what's going on in this report. Click Reports to go back to the list of reports. Click Cumulative Flow Diagram. Some reports have additional filters, like this one. This one has a filter for status, and also has some date filters. Interpret the chart. In Cumulative Flow, check for bottlenecks in the In Progress category. This one looks pretty good. I don't see a bottleneck. I see the number of issues in the In Progress status going up over time, and the number of to-dos shrinking. And at the very end, I see a recent spike in Done. The longer me and my team use Jira, the better I'll be able to watch for trends and answer questions like, are we improving our cycle time? Where is work getting stuck? So Jira reports help track flow, throughput, and problem areas. Use the Reports tab in your project to access multiple visual reports. After your team has been using Jira for a bit, explore the reports to see what you can learn about and how well your team is operating, and what areas there are for improvement. Next, let's look at Jira's roadmap features, ideal for planning at a higher level. While a board helps you manage day-to-day tasks, a roadmap, also known as a timeline, lets you see the bigger picture. They're great for planning large initiatives, communicating timelines, and aligning cross-functional teams. Roadmaps let you create epics and visualize their timeline. Add child tasks beneath epics, and drag and drop bars to adjust timeframes. They're great for product managers, team leads, and anyone needing to plan ahead. Let's step by step access and use the timeline. Again, to access your timeline, go to your project and click Timeline. It can be a little slow to load sometimes, so I've already loaded it here in a new tab. This Jira project is for tracking the work related to building a website for a music festival that I'm putting together. It's called the Music You'll Really Enjoy Festival, aka the Meyer Festival. This project has 2 epics associated with it already. Launch teaser website and website V2, ticket sales. They're listed here under releases. So this first epic, launch teaser website, that's a big task. It's much too big for an Agile team to tackle as one task. So that epic is a container for smaller tasks. And you'll see those spread across 2 sprints. My second epic also spans 2 sprints, but doesn't have that many tasks in it yet. That's okay. That's kind of a key part of Agile methodology. Things that need action soon have much more detail and planning associated with them than things that don't need action for a while. But I can still plan for those things that might not happen for a while yet. So I'm going to create another epic. I'll give it a name. I'm going to create one for website version 3. And these features are going to be focused on adding enhancements to the site for festival support. All the features that the site needs to support the festival as it's happening. Then I can drag the time bars as needed after editing some dates. I can choose a start date, and maybe I'll leave due date empty for now. This faded out right end of the bar indicates that there's no due date. And I may as well back this one epic up to start when the other one is planned to end. Maybe I'll change the color to differentiate it from my other sprints. My other epics. I can create child issues right here. So to add child issues to this epic, I click the plus sign and start making some notes about tasks that will need to happen for this epic. Let's see, features that we might need for this version of the website are stage schedules. Yeah, people will need to know that while they're at the festival. Maybe today's menu, so people can see all the great food that's available through our catering service. And let me add one more for incident report form. I don't think we'll need this, but just in case anyone needs to report any problems, yeah, we'll add that feature. Now I have 3 tasks in that epic. You can also add tasks to an epic from the backlog. So I'll go to the backlog. I'll scroll down to the bottom where I will create another issue, and I will call this additional FAQs. We'll add some additional FAQs to the website. I'll mouse over this area, select Epic, and choose the epic that I want to add this task to, Website v3. There it is. Let me look at the issue details. And you'll see the epic is listed here. In this screen, this value is labeled parent. Don't worry, that's okay. Epic and parent serve the same purpose. So another real-world example for the use of epics might be if you're launching a new mobile app. You might create epics for backend services, and another one for front-end UI, and another one for beta testing. Those are all really big tasks that are really made up of a bunch of other tasks. So you can create those 3 epics, map each to a timeline, and add tasks for developers and QA. Everyone can now see how the pieces fit together. So roadmaps, or timelines, help with high-level planning across weeks or months. Use them to manage epics and communicate timelines. They're ideal for keeping stakeholders aligned. But also remember, the less critical something is right now, the harder it is to predict exactly when it will be completed. The timeline is great for high-level planning, but remember to stay flexible and adapt to shifting priorities. If you think mapping out epics on a timeline might be useful for you, pause the video and give it a try. Set up 1 or more epics and estimate the time frame over which that work should be completed. Associate individual work items with those epics, also called parents, to track progress of each epic. When you come back, we'll look at how to create many issues at once with bulk issue creation. Manually creating dozens of issues one by one is slow and error-prone. If you're setting up a new project or sprint, bulk creation saves hours of time. There are 2 main ways. 1, CSV import via Jira's built-in importer, and 2, through marketplace apps for advanced needs. In this chapter, we'll focus on the CSV import, and that's available to project admins. Let's go through step by step. I want to bulk upload issues to this project. So to do that, I'll navigate to All Work. This All Work screen, by the way, is just like the filters functionality that we looked at in a previous chapter. It's essentially a filter that is pre-filtered with the criteria of project equals, well, whichever project you're currently looking at. You can do all the things that you can do from the filter screen. Apply filters, edit the JQuery directly, and save your filter. So I'm going to click on the 3 dots on the right and click Import Work Items from CSV. Here is where you will upload a CSV file. I've already created one, and it looks like this. It just has 2 columns, summary and issue type, and it's a list of 3 different issues: integrate Apple Pay, integrate Google Pay, and integrate PayPal. So I'll click Choose File, select it and open, and click Next. I'll select the project to import it to. The project's The issues that I'm importing are for my Meyer website project. I'll leave these other settings unchanged and click Next. Now, I can map the fields. For each field in my CSV file, I need to choose which Jira field that should go into. So, issue type, well, that's going to go into the Jira issue type field. The summary will go into the summary. Note, Jira gives me a little example from the first row of my data. So I have in case I'm not sure what those fields in my CSV file are, this gives me a little bit of a hint. Now I'll click Next. Begin import. Depending on the size of your file, this might take a few seconds or a minute or so. 3 work items successfully imported. Great. Now I'll click Check Created Issues. There they are. Note that some fields that I didn't assign values to have values, like priority and reporter and status. That's because all of these values are default, or there's a rule, like whoever creates the issue is the reporter. So really, my CSV file didn't even need a column for issue type. I really just needed one column that had my summaries. That would have been good enough in this example. While we're here, let's also look at the JQuery. We looked at JQuery in a previous chapter. Since Jira assigned issue keys to all of my issues, Jira was able to set up a constraint on issue key to show just the issues created via this import, all the ones with keys between 25 and 27. So here are some tips for successful bulk importing. If you include assignees in your import file, make sure those assignees exist in Jira before importing. Use plain text only. Avoid formatting or special characters. And if errors occur, Jira will give you a summary to help fix them. So you can imagine a content team is planning blog posts for Q2. They create a spreadsheet with 25 articles with each title, writer, due date, and status, then import it to Jira and assign tasks in minutes. That's a lot faster than creating each issue individually within the Jira interface. So you can use CSV import to create multiple issues quickly, map your data to Jira fields carefully, and it's great for project setups, onboarding, or sprint planning. The next time that you have a lot of issues to create at once, remember the option of doing that via a CSV import. Next, we'll learn about edit issues in bulk. That's just as powerful as creating them. Projects evolve. Priorities shift. People change roles. Instead of editing issues one by one, which is tedious and error-prone, you can use bulk editing to update multiple issues at once. It's a massive time saver when assigning issues to a new team member, changing priorities after a planning meeting, or updating statuses after a release. Bulk editing allows you to change fields like assignee and priority and labels and status and issue type. Even delete or move issues. So be careful. Note, you'll need the right permissions to use this feature. So there are a handful of issues in this project that I want to mark as high priority. They are all in the current active sprint. Right now, everything in the sprint is medium priority. So to do a bulk edit, first, I will navigate to the All Work tab. Next, use filters or JQuil to narrow down the issues to the ones you want to update. I'll narrow down to in progress and to do, because if it's done, I don't need to worry about changing the priority. And the type of work item, I will focus on stories. And I also want to filter to just the current sprint. So let me search for that filter. There it is, sprint. So sprint equals, and I'll choose the sprint for this project. And this is my currently active sprint for this board. Great. And here's my list of issues. Now, sorry, I don't have much real estate, but believe me, there's the list of issues. You can see them scrolling by. Next, I'll click on the three dots and to open more actions and click on Bulk Change Work Items. Now I can see all the lists that were returned by my filter. I'm going to select them all, but I'm going to deselect this one. I don't want to change the priority of this. So in this example, I have 4 items that I want to bulk update. I'll click Next. Choose your operation. I'm going to edit issues, but note that you can also move issues, transition them through the workflow, permanently delete issues, start watching issues, or stop watching issues. Again, I'm going to edit because I'm going to change the priority for each of these issues. I'm going to change priority, and I want to mark them all high. Note that there are other fields that I can modify here. Lots of fields, in fact. But for now, I'm just going to change the priority to high. So I'll click Next. Here's a confirmation of what I'm doing. I'm changing the priority field to a value of high. So that table above summarizes the changes I'm about to make for these 4 issues. And this shows what they currently have as their priority, which is medium, as well as all the other attributes about them. This looks good to me, so I will click Confirm. Jira is editing those 4 issues. And after a few seconds, bulk operation is 100% complete. From here, I'll click Done. Now, if I go back to my active sprint, I can see that these items now show high priority. So just remember that there's no undo with bulk update. So double check everything. Never bulk delete unless you're absolutely sure. Test with a small set of issues first if you're unsure. Here's a real-world example where bulk edit might be useful. Let's say a sprint is canceled and all 12 tasks need to be reassigned and downgraded from high to medium priority. Instead of opening each issue, the PM selects all 12 issues, uses bulk edit, and they're done in under a minute. So to recap, bulk editing is essential for managing large numbers of issues efficiently. Always use filters to narrow down your list carefully. Use with caution, especially for deleting or transitioning. Now that you've learned the most powerful tools in Jira, let's wrap up this course. Congratulations! You've reached the end of the course. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything you've learned. You now know how to navigate Jira and understand Kanban boards. You know how to create and customize boards and workflows. You can add, view, and manage issues. You can use filters and dashboards to stay focused. You know how to share your work with your team and generate insightful reports. You know about long-term planning using roadmaps, also known as timelines. And you know how to save time with bulk issue creation and bulk editing. Start by applying what you've learned to your own team's processes. Build your board to match your team's workflow. Create shared filters for visibility. Use dashboards in team stand-ups. Import or update tasks in bulk when setting up new projects. And remember, Jira is highly customizable. As you become more confident, explore automation, third-party integrations, and custom workflows. Final thoughts. Jira can seem complex at first, but with the right structure and the right approach, it becomes a powerful tool to drive clarity, transparency, and productivity. The key is to start simple. Focus on your team's real-world needs and build from there. Thank you for joining this course. I hope it's helped you not just learn Jira, but to use it with confidence.